Welcome to Stretford, Paddock, Manchester United 2, Leeds 2. I don't even know where to start with that. It's one of those games where 50 minutes in, if you just said, would you take 2-2, I'd have bitten your hand off. And in the end, it's a 2-2 that's left me feeling frustrated, almost out of breath with how just hellish and high intensity that game was. It was just the scrappiest, most stressful shit game I've ever seen, that one at day.
I think that's what it is. I mean, usually if you're 2-0 down, you come back to a point, you're like, yeah, it's a positive that. But the game was just shite. Yeah. It was scrappy. I mean, there was no decent plays. I mean, at the end, we literally started patting it on the floor, which I was shocked to see because everything was in the air. Everything was passed at everyone 100 mile an hour. Leeds was pressing. To be fair, Leeds did really well pressing. Yeah. But it was just dreadful. I mean, the fact that, like you said in the watch along, they only had two styles of play and it worked for them each time, and we didn't know how to deal with it either way.
No. Yeah, they pressed really high, pushed really hard. As soon as we got the ball, they just flew at us, which is how they got both of their goals. Or they sat off and kind of, as soon as we got into their final third, they fouled us, or they pushed us over, or they went down for a foul. Like, it was one of those games where you just watch it after. Obviously, let's go back to the start because I could easily just ramble and talk about my emotions right now. But let's go back to the start. And 56 seconds in, we're a goal down. They flew at us like. Do you know what? It was like we were surprised they looked a bit sharper than they have done recently.
Up for it.
Yeah. Oh, Leeds are quite up for, I thought they were crap and they've got this American guy with a walkie-talkie who's shit, so they must be terrible. Can someone tell Leeds to stop trying, please? This was meant to be easy. And like, how obvious was that?
I know. It was just from the start, they just went for it and they never at the second one they went, right, fucking hell, let's go. They just seemed to stand still and, we'll be all right. We'll get the ball back in a minute. We never did it. And to be fair, it was a well-worked goal, but we never even recovered from that. I mean, we scored, the first minute and then all the way to the half-time. We didn't look like doing anything. No. It was just them pressing and us getting frustrated, giving the ball away. I mean, I don't even know what style of play we were playing, to be honest. If you had to define what we were playing, I couldn't put a finger on it.
No, it's one of those games where it highlights how much we miss certain players. But then part of you, I almost feel embarrassed to say we can't beat Leeds at home without Casemiro.
It's pathetic that we can't do that.
Exactly. If a team tries really hard against us and presses us, we can't beat them. Like, what's that? Casemiro is a great player, but surely we've got players good enough to stop, Leeds battering us basically for the first 20 minutes. Exactly. I know that we came back into it, and we'll get to some of the stats. And the stats by the end of the game, I think United probably deserved to win, really. We made a lot of chances, but the sort of shell-shock moment in those first few minutes, we thought, could we not have predicted this a little bit? I didn't understand it. Get your thoughts and get your comments in. I'll get to some of those in just a minute. Just going into sort of through the game then, second half, you expect United to come out with a new sense of energy. We know we can't be shocked by Leeds again because we know what they're doing. And yet the first 5 minutes of the second half was exactly the same. They pressed high and had chance after chance, corner after corner, and eventually they go down the left-hand side, pull the ball back, and Varane unfortunately toes it into his own goal. But how were we shocked again in that second half?
This is what I don't understand. I'm sure Erik ten Hag would have been screaming at him at half-time. He looked pissed off. Yeah. And the fact, don't let that happen again, I'm sure he said that at some point, and it's just exactly the same. It's like we had not learned anything.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think it wasn't until we made the substitutions. I think Sancho and then Pellistri coming on really changed it. But Pellistri did all right on the right hand side, but Sancho especially was much better on the left hand side. To be fair to Garnacho, he did have probably the best two chances in the first half for us. But Sancho he took players on better. Garnacho was getting bullied off the ball quite a few times, but once again it was dreadful. We're relying on a player who's not really played much in the past
3 months.
Yeah, he made a cameo appearance last game, and then. Yeah.
But let's move on to Sancho, because I thought, alongside Martinez, who I thought was brilliant again, he's just brilliant every week, isn't he? He's expected to build the ball out from the back. His passing is consistently excellent. His defensive work was brilliant again. Yeah, he was fantastic, Martinez. But I thought Sancho was brilliant when he came on. When the ball went to him, he's the only one the ball could actually stick at his feet. Everyone else is losing it or getting tackled. He's got that sort of slight, the body feints and the kind of movement on the ball where he just makes half a yard for himself when no one else could find half a yard.
I think the difference was he's probably watching it from the sideline, seeing everyone panic on the ball.
Yeah.
I didn't see him really panic. He did take a second every now and again to, what options have I got?
Yeah.
Not just fling it at someone hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's made the difference. If a few of the other players had that mentality for that game where just, hang on a minute, let's just take a second and see what's available, we'd have got something out of that. Well, I know we did get something out of it, a draw, but it doesn't feel like a draw, does it?
No. I've got a few stats as well. Sancho, who was only on the pitch for, 30 minutes?
Must be
I think just over 30 minutes. Made more chances than anyone else in the game. Had more attacking third passes than anyone else by almost double. He also had, what's the other one? I had another stat here. Look at this. Collapsing in front of me. He had a block cross as well, which is more than any other United attacker, so he's getting back and doing that job as well. He also had the second most shots of anyone on United's team. He came. That was it. He had the most take-ons of anyone. So he's going at his players and he's going past them more than anyone else for United. Like,
he's crazy, really.
Yeah, he's been on for 30 minutes and he's done more than everyone else put together, pretty much. It's ridiculous, and you think it's great on one hand, and I want to talk about how good it is because it's so exciting to have him back, and the thought of what he could do and what front three we could sort of piece together with him fully fit and maybe Marcus down the middle, because I thought he looked very good as a number 9. But it's a shame, like I said, that the squad is in a position where you've got Sancho coming on and he looks a step ahead of everyone else when he's not playing.
Yeah, well, he should be the one that's behind everyone else.
Yeah,
it's mad, and there was other things we didn't seem to have a plan B, or the players didn't. Ronaldo mentioned it in the watch along about every good opportunity we had was from a cross.
Yeah,
we got into positions where we could cross the ball and we still wouldn't do it, and we couldn't understand it. Especially with Rashford there, the way he scored his goal, the way he leapt up, and he's a brilliant header, brilliant goal.
On that, it was a proper number 9's goal again. We've seen a few of them, like the goal against Man City, the goal against Crystal Palace, and then the goal tonight. All three of them were basically on the 6-yard line. 2 sort of opened his body up, side foots under the goalkeeper. That tonight, winning, not really pushing his man out of the way, but jumping with his man, winning the header over the centre back and putting it at the back post. Proper strikers' goals from Rashford. And if he's adding those to his game, it's no wonder we're seeing the numbers from him. I think he's the first United player since Wayne Rooney in 2012 to score in 6 home Premier League games in a row. So he's just keeping that consistency up, and he's bailing us out a bit at the minute, his goal scoring, isn't it?
But I just don't understand the fact that you see him there. When we move into centre forward, we can score goals. Just feed him. Everything doesn't have to be 2 touch, tap it in. Just get the ball to him. He'll try and do something with it. But yeah, I just thought all around some of the passes and some of the weight of pass was dreadful for most people.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. I've got a few super chats. James Kelland said, Sancho changed it when he came on. I felt well done to him, and Rashford up the middle helped, I'll admit. Akash Solomon said, Fred with an absolute stinker. Pellistri, Jadon and Rashford through the middle changed the game. But why did we only start crossing after we took off Weghorst? Just on Fred, and I don't want this to be like a massive let's all blast Fred thing. It's hard to even be honest without being too critical. That was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Is he the type of player he's one of our more average players, but I've always defended him in a way. When he's been half decent, I'll say it. But that probably was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, it was.
It was like sometimes he had his eyes closed on his passing. The amount of balls he was giving away just to the left, there's no one there apart from Leeds players. And it's not like the shirts are similar. They're wearing bright white, and he's just, have that. Yeah. And even when the ball was getting pushed out, it was just headed back or just a little chip back to someone. Yeah. His passes when they were to a player were awful. There was nothing easy the player who was getting it could do with it. It was just they had to control it first.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of passes. Like the thing with Fred is, I'm not going to sit here and say we've got to get rid of him. He's awful.
No,
he's shocking.
I won't say that.
But he does have a tendency, especially when he's the kind of senior player in the midfield, because obviously Sabitzer came in. It's his first start for the club. It's his second minutes ever for the team. Fred is the senior player in that midfield. of those two. When he is expected to be the senior player, he can be dreadful at times, can't he? And I think he's got a place in the squad, and I think, Casemiro alongside him, he's looked good in recent weeks. But like his positional discipline is non-existent. I've said this before, and if you watch the game today, you'll have seen it. He just sprints at the ball. Whoever's got the ball for Leeds, he just sprints at them. And the thing is, if you've got Casemiro behind in the perfect position all the time, you can get away with that sometimes because they run it around him and Casemiro steps in second. But if you've got Sabitzer there who doesn't know the system properly, doesn't know Fred's tendencies, doesn't know where Shaw's going to be on the other side, or you can't expect him to cover up for Fred's blind, dogged, just sort of attraction. It's like, do you know when you see a cat and a laser pen on the floor? That's what Fred's like with the ball. Like just a little laser, like going after it like that, and you think you've got to be a bit smarter than that. And then on top of that, in the midfield, like you said, his passing was awry. He was every person that receives a pass from Fred has to use their chest to get the ball down. That's not a great trait today, anyway. It's not always like this. He's had many good games for United, obviously, but again in that final third as well, some of his shots there's times where he's walking onto it or running onto it. Great cutback from Sancho, and the shot is a dribbler to the back post that gets blocked. Another one, he pulls it back for Bruno. Fred has a swing at it, and the ball is like looped up in the air from 8 yards out. And you think, just a bit of quality in there could have been the difference today. But yeah, 2 more games without Casemiro has waffled. BD says there. It's a daunting prospect at the minute, and especially when you've got Leeds again and at Ellen Road next time. How do you see that going? Because United need to do something different.
Surely we can learn from that and go, actually, these guys do press and they do try. Like I say, we figured it out, the 2 types of football they play.
Yeah.
How did United not figure it out in that 90 minutes? I just don't know.
Yeah.
But like I was saying off air, some poor analysis is going to have to go through all that and to show the play. They're going to have to watch that 90 minutes again.
It was just a gross, sludgy, just completely broken game, that one.
Awful.
It felt like just everything was a foul. Everyone's getting like, we're down hurt, let's stop for a minute. Goal kick, free kick, goal kick, free kick.
There was no bits of football where you go, you couldn't make a highlight reel out of anything there where you go, that was good play. That
no,
there was nothing.
There was no passages of play really, was there? Except occasionally with Sancho on the left. Happy says again, for all the young lads out there, if Fred can make it as a footballer, you can too. Jason Castro says, feel bad for Sabitzer being trialled by fire with Fred. I think we need to consider moving short to centre back with Martinez CDM. Lindelof too poor on the ball. I don't think he was bad when he came on. He didn't have much to do, did he? Daniel says there's a huge drop off. Is because Casemiro and Eriksen are both out. Ten Hag needs to decide if we should play more defensively in the short term until we can sort that out. I think maybe against a team like Leeds, but you can't.
It shouldn't be that way. Yeah, them 2 are out, but a team like Leeds, who their record isn't great, we shouldn't have to rely on them 2. The midfielders we've got should be able to deal with that. Especially Fred just said, was erratic today.
Yeah. Sati says Rashford and Garnacho never crossed a vow, just shoot. I don't know if he's saying that they don't and they should, or whether he's instructing them not to, but either way, I don't think they do very often, do they? Nick Hill says, I think Fred got found out tonight. Without the class of Casemiro next to him, he looked lost, couldn't string a pass together, and poor. Thank you for your super chat there, Nick Hill. I think it's his first ever super chat. Jake March Jones said, Fred can't be trusted. He's a squad player at best. Bruno Fernandes, I thought first half, scrappy, his kind of inconsistent, annoying self, but I thought he did. The thing with Bruno is, every single there's never been a game except maybe Atletico away that Bruno Fernandes has played for Man United where he hasn't done 5 very good things.
Yeah,
but it was one of those where he also did 5 really annoying things today, wasn't it?
We just talked about Fred there. Imagine Fred wasn't in this game.
Yeah,
we'd be moaning about Fernandes.
Yeah, probably.
But because there's someone who did even worse, we don't really get it. The thing is, because Bruno can play for 90 minutes, have 89 minutes where he's awful and he's giving the ball away too, but he'll come up and pop up with something brilliant, score a goal or a great assist. So he can get away with it, but he is consistently bad during games. I'm not saying he doesn't have good moments in it, but every game there's periods where he's just bad in it.
Yeah, he struggled today, I thought. Ryan Carter said Garnacho played like an 18-year-old, ran into trouble, only has one idea and didn't take his chances. Sancho can't return to the first team soon enough. And I think that's fair enough, innit? Garnacho played like an 18-year-old because he is an 18-year-old. Yeah. So you expect these performances in those scrappy, horrible games. you need those sort of players who have been there and done that. Again, I know we
but I wouldn't criticise him.
Great today, wouldn't he?
He like I say, getting past. He was bodied a few times and couldn't get past, but he had 2 great opportunities.
Yeah.
One that was the other side of the post. The keeper wasn't getting anywhere near it. He took it around the keeper, and I criticised it at first for not having a quick shot, but I thought he did really well to get the shot away, and it was cleared on the goal line.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a great game, but he has still. There's 2 opportunities there that could have been goals.
Yeah, and that's the thing in it. Like we said, he played like an 18-year-old, which he is.
Yeah.
So what else do you expect? Like you said, he has some really good moments, but 90 minutes in that kind of environment is just probably too much to ask, wasn't it? Right, that's going to be all from us. In one way, this is a really good result. 2-0 down after 50 minutes, 55 minutes.
When we're 2-0 down, you just snap someone's arm off for 2-2. But it's just the way the game went. It's just. I would just want happy watching it.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, if we get the league table up quickly, this gives Tottenham the chance, I believe, to go. That's 4 points ahead of them on the same games now. So, one bad week and we're out of the top 4. Hopefully, that bad week won't happen. But we've got to recover against Leeds and we've got to be better than that. I never thought I'd say this, but we might have missed Scott McTominay today. Because one thing you can say about Scott McTominay, he's good against Leeds. He can match their shit.
Yeah,
and he may not be good for anything else, but he's good against Leeds. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but we missed him. Yeah, ridiculous. Right, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Dave, for coming on. Make sure you check out Dave. What's your Twitter handle?
David J. Pritt.
Check out David J. Pritt on Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I can't even believe I'm saying it. United 2, Leeds 2. I thought we had this. I knew it was going to be tricky, this, but I thought we'd win. Anyway, couldn't quite manage it. Like I said, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in a bit.